Welcome back. So February is Black History Month, and this morning we're highlighting an event in our area that is really important when it comes to teaching our Black students and serving our minority communities. This morning, I'm joined by Jesse Hagopian, who is an ethics studies teacher and co-advisor for the Black Student Union at Garfield High School. Jesse, also one of the editors of the book Teaching for Black Lives. We have it right here on the screen behind us. Good morning. Thank you very much for being here. I think this is such a fascinating conversation. We kind of already started it in the break.
Yeah.
So would you just tell us a little bit about the book Teaching for Black Lives?
Absolutely. And first, happy Black History Month to you.
Thank you, and to you.
All right. I'm really excited about this project, Teaching for Black Lives. I co-edited the book with Wayne Au and Diane Watson, incredible professors who helped gather lesson plans and teaching activities from all over the country to help affirm the lives of Black students in our classrooms that are too often erased from the corporate curriculum in the textbooks that are around the country. And this is a book that helps put intersectional Black identities at the forefront and help students and teachers better understand how to engage with that curriculum, not just in February, right, but integrating it into American history all throughout the year.
What I love about this is that it's a challenge to teachers to say, hey, take this book, learn yourself, and then bringing it into your classroom. You must be hearing from teachers doing this.
It's incredible the feedback we've been getting, whether on social media or from my own colleagues in my school building, coming up to me and just thanking me for access to lesson plans and perspectives that they'd never had before, right? And, you know, sometimes it's teaching things that they've taught many times before, like the March on Washington, but they didn't know that actually the March on Washington was organized by a Black gay man, right? And what that intersectional identity means, or the fact that women were not allowed to speak at the March on Washington, and how do we build more inclusive movements that fight both against sexism and racism. And these kind of lessons, I think, are really transforming curriculum across Seattle and across the country now.
It is amazing to think every school in the Seattle district now has your book, and you've heard from 30+ school communities around the country working on this. Macklemore has put money behind this to get it into more school districts. Why is having curriculum like this so important in school at all levels?
Yeah, I think it's vital that we begin to tell the truth about the contributions and the struggles of Black people throughout history, because when Black students don't see themselves reflected in the curriculum, the consequences are devastating, right? And I think it's a big part of the school to prison pipeline, because students who check out of a class where they're being disrespected in the curriculum are often labeled defiant, when really we might see it as resistance to a racist curriculum, right? And then they're pushed out with zero tolerance discipline, and then they're suspended and they don't graduate. And we see that school to prison pipeline is being built. And this book is about actually including them and affirming them. And, you know, it recently was reported that hate crimes in Seattle have doubled in the last year. And we need to take that seriously and understand that hate can multiply when we don't understand each other's cultures and don't value people of color in our society. And I think that this book is a contribution to helping that struggle.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the successes that you've started to see in using this book, but in using this curriculum in general, being very intentional about this kind of curriculum.
Yeah, I can tell you that teaching ethnic studies and using the book Teaching for Black Lives, over the course of the last year and a half that we've begun this program, has been the greatest time of my teaching career. The conversations in my classroom, in my ethnic studies course, the empathy that's developed between diverse students and a better understanding of each other's cultures has really been electrifying to me. And I'm hearing it from the other cohort of teachers that are piloting ethnic studies courses around the Seattle Public Schools, that the work is really powerful and engaging, and we hope to push it further to make it a graduation requirement and to have it fully funded as part of the Seattle Public Schools.
It seems like it's about affirming value and worth at an individual level. It seems like something we've kind of failed to do up until this point.
Yeah, it's astounding when you flip through the textbooks and look at how they cover Black history, right? Sometimes, like, there's scandals that finally reached the light of day in Texas where they erased the enslaved Africans altogether by putting the word worker in instead, implying that they were actually paid for their work. Or a fourth grade textbook in Connecticut that claimed that slaves in Connecticut were treated like members of the family, right? Or the phenomenon where we talk about black people only when we're talking about slavery, right? And oppression, and not about the many amazing contributions to this country and to this world that black people have given us, and that's what we're trying to correct, both with the movement, the Black Lives Matter at School movement that just had its recent week of action in over 30 cities across the country. Teachers taught to the 13 principles of the Black Lives Matter movement, or as the ethnic studies movement continues to grow around the country, and more people are turning to books like Teaching for Black Lives.
Such an important conversation. Tell us about tonight. We only have a couple more seconds left, but tell us about this event tonight. We're looking at the details here on our screen.
I'm really excited. Tonight at the University of Washington at 7 p.m. at Kane Hall, we're holding a book event for Teaching for Black Lives with students, parents, teachers, all talking about what needs to change in the Seattle Public Schools and nationally, and how we can make those changes.
This is an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people, but it's an important one. I appreciate you being here today. I appreciate you editing this book. I appreciate you continuing to help push this conversation, because it really is about valuing every person in this country.
No doubt. I really appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Jesse Hagopian, thanks for being here.